This judge in HQ where the Cincinnati Bengals and head coach Zach Taylor saying that he anticipates quarterback Joe Burrow will be back in the lineup Thursday night for their game against the Ravens. Burrow's been out since suffering a turf toe injury week 2. Bengals sit at 3-8, last place in the AFC North heading into the week. Burrow is back. They will be without receiver T. Higgins and Trey Hendrickson for Thanksgiving. I'm Tommy Tran with Rand Carthon to talk about the Joe Burrow news. So again, all roads lead to Joe Burrow getting his first start since that turf toe injury, although no official designation right now. How surprised are you about sort of that news today?
I'm surprised just from the simple fact, just due to the nature of the injury when it first occurred and the fact that he needed surgery to repair it. I didn't think he was going to be able to come back this year. But if you know anyone who is maniacal about their process, it's Joe Burrow, and he was going to find a way to get himself back in it. And so, Tommy, if you can remember when we were off camera and we were talking about it, I was like, wait, do they have a chance? And mathematically, they're not eliminated. And you have to think about it. Who gives them a better chance to close the gap right now than Joe Burrow? And not only from a physical and a talent level that he's an improvement for them, but what is that going to do for this team from a confidence standpoint? Having him back in the lineup, knowing that he's back in the lineup. And you said on the lead-in that he will be without T. Higgins, but you get a Jamar Chase back. And then Chase Brown is coming off of a 100-yard rushing performance. We'll see. We'll see now. I mean, looking at this schedule, you're at Baltimore on Thursday, then you're at Buffalo. And then you have Baltimore again, you're at Miami, you have Arizona, you have Cleveland to close out the season. Again, mathematically, you're not out of it. And so let's see where we go from here if they drop 2 in a row, and where does that take you? Because my other question will lead off of this was, and it made me wonder, it made me thought about it, is Zach Taylor coaching for his job? And that's where, and I, you know, you and I, we both hate to talk about these guys and their job security, but he's 49-60 as a head coach. However, he is 5-2 in the playoffs and has led this team to a Super Bowl, which is what hurt one of the previous coaches, Marvin Lewis, who had a winning regular season record but was 0-7 in the playoffs.
So you bring up a few interesting things here in regards to playoff chances, perhaps Zach Taylor and what pressure he may be under. But you've run a team before as a general manager. You're supposed to look out for the long-term effects of your team. And I only bring this up because Joe Burrow does have a long injury history. So it gets back to whether him coming back, however slim it may be, is the juice worth the squeeze, you know?
Well, I'll say it this way, Tommy. Your contract may say one thing in terms of how long you're technically supposed to be under contract with a team, but these things can flip on you overnight, and where you think things are good, the next day you get a call that you're not. And so that's where we don't know, because obviously we're not in the Bengals building in terms of where Zach Taylor is and where his standing is with the Brown family. But if you're Zach Taylor, we're worried about the future when we get there. Let's take care of the present, and let's make sure that we have an opportunity to actually get there. Because if you approach this from the standpoint of that we have a healthy Joe Burrow who's practiced full a couple days last week, who's going to practice full this week, and he's healthy, and you know he's in Zach's ear saying, I'm ready, give me opportunity, put me back in. If I had that opportunity versus going out there with a Joe Flacco, and no disrespect to Joe Flacco, I'm rolling with my guy in Joe Burrow, because not only does he give us the best chance to win, but Joe Burrow gives me the best chance to continue to pay that private school tuition and pay the mortgage on my house.
Cincinnati 1-8 without Joe Burrow when he went out earlier in the season with that turf toe injury. It was tough to ask 2 games in 4 days, even though you mentioned all the practice time that he had last week there for Cincinnati. Getting back to, again, with the assumption that he plays and the anticipation is that he's going to play barring any type of setback. We did talk about T. Higgins dealing with a concussion. You mentioned them getting Jamar Chase back here, but how might that impact that Bengals offense this week?
Well, I'll say it'll give them life. It'll give them life. It'll give them some confidence going into this football game. However, we're catching Baltimore as they're starting to ramp up and they're really starting to take off. And more important, this defense is starting to play well. And so for me, the offensive line has been a concern for Cincinnati all season, which is how Joe Burrow even got in this situation in the first place, because the play happened during the sack. It wasn't like it was a non-contact injury. It was one in which he took a hit. And so now if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, it's going to be that pressure of taking care of Joe Burrow, making sure he gets the ball out quick, and you're going to be holding your breath every single time he takes any type of contact. So for me, I think Baltimore is going to be well equipped to win this football game. But I also think we're going to see how Zach Taylor puts together the game plan and how well he's going to protect Joe Burrow.
We'll continue to monitor that. Again, the plan is for Joe Burrow to play, and right now the Bengals are 7-point underdogs on the road against the Ravens. A reminder about game day recap Sundays at 8:20. Ran, Haley, Pete, and Damian. Check them out right here on CBS Sports HQ.